There we go. There we go. Okay. So, hello, hello, hello. And thank you everybody for joining me again this month for our full moon ceremony that we've been doing once a month. This month is March, and we are doing a full moon ceremony for the March moon, which is the full worm moon, and it's going to be in Virgo. It's Saturday night right now as I'm recording this. So I'm not sure when you guys are watching the replay for those who are watching the replay. However, the full moon doesn't actually happen until Tuesday night. So we're just doing it early. As you know, the full moon energy is good for 3 nights before and 3 nights after you're already in that energy. So that could be another reason why I'm having these issues with technology. The Virgo full moon might just be messing with me a lot. But you can do your own ceremony whenever you want to do your own full moon ceremonies. You can do them anytime within that window, 3 nights before, the night of, and 3 nights after. So we can celebrate that at any time. So I like to do these. I like to keep them on a Saturday if possible, but just some point in time, giving you chance to celebrate with me here on our live event, but also have time to go back and do them for yourself in case you have your own full moon. So every now and then they might fall on the actual full moon when I do these events, but most of the time I try to make them early enough that we can enjoy this together, and then you guys can also have your own if you have anything you like to do for yourself or for your family. That's great. I love that, and I want you to be able to do both. So this time we're doing the March full moon, which is the worm moon. If you did sign up through the event, you guys can see that I did share a bunch of information about that. I'll put that in the description of the video as well for those of you who didn't see the event, just talking about the worm moon and the other names that it is called. I will often research that. We got someone else coming in. I research that every month because I'm trying to get an idea from the guides what we're going to talk about. What is the theme going to be about when we do our moon ceremonies? So what I'll do often is I'll go and I'll research what is the moon called. What did other cultures call it? Why did they call it that? What's happening at this time of the moon? Just trying to get us to be very, very connected to the energy that this moon is all about. So while I was doing that, you know, I was learning about it. I was even learning that I guess originally they thought that it was called the worm moon because of the earthworms that come out, you know, like in the showers, the March showers, the spring showers coming out, and then the earthworms come to the top. But it's actually a very particular larvae that used to show up that indicated that the season was changing, and that is why it was called the worm moon. So there was really interesting stuff that I found out, but I kept getting poked about Virgo. It was like she herself, the energy of Virgo goddess energy, just kept pulling me. It was like tugging at me. It was like bringing me in. It was saying, you know, nope, nope, you're not looking at that. You're coming to look at me. Come look at me. So I said, okay, well, I was already researching goddesses and things that were having to do with the vernal equinox. It's going to be later this month, the March 20th. This is the full moon that's right before the spring equinox. So we're going to have springtime. It's going to start on the 20th, beginning with the spring equinox. So I was already kind of like in goddess mode anyway. So I thought, well, why don't I look up which goddesses are associated with the zodiac sign of Virgo, since that's where the moon is going to be at in that constellation. And what do we all think about when we think of Virgo? I mean, if you guys want to put anything in chat, or if you want to come off of mute, let me know. What kind of things do you think about when you think of Virgo? I mean, some of you might be Virgo, so you might think of yourself, but what kind of traits do you think about when you think of Virgo? Anybody want to volunteer? Love? I'm a Virgo, but I don't know about traits. Okay. What else?
Control.
I had two voices come in. Yolanda, what did you say?
Controlling.
Controlling. Okay. Brianna?
I kind of was gonna say that. I've learned with 2 Virgos in my life that they're very, very, they are hard lovers, and they're very feisty. Like, they can be very controlling, but they're very feisty about it. Like, it's very weird.
Right. There and that I mean all of those are also earth traits. So there it's an earth sign. But like how about the constellation itself? Like what do you think of not about the people necessarily that you know, but what is something about like the constellations even or the backstory, the mythology. Somebody else came off of mute I just saw. Nope, nope. Everybody got scared. They went back on mute. Anything else? So a lot of those were good things though, as far as like the feisty and stuff. No idea about the constellations or myths. Someone says in chat. No problem. Okay, so one of the Coach K, what were you gonna say?
So, what I've known them to be is perfectionists,
Yeah, right, right,
very analytical thinkers.
right,
Um, Goodness. Okay, the love goddess, of course, Venus, but basically every Virgo that I've ever known, it has been very analytical in their thinking.
right.
They analyze everything and they're perfectionists to the max.
Right, right. That's what we know them to be very, very orderly to the T, organized. All of these things that we're saying are kind of like symbolizing, you know, like if we were to say business and paperwork and organization, those kinds of things, right? Nobody mentioned anything about a virgin. Nobody thinks about the virgin when you think about Virgo, the people that you know. Nothing about that signifies like, oh, this person is like a chaste virgin, a maiden, right? We're getting an LOL in the chat from that. And the reason why I'm saying that is because that's very interesting because according to everybody's laughing, according to the folklore, according to what we usually hear when you're reading about the constellation, you'll hear, oh, Virgo, the virgin maiden. And that's how they'll describe her. They'll talk about her in the sky. What is that constellation we're looking at? Oh, we're looking at like a virgin, like Madonna, right? Like, like a virgin, like Madonna was a virgin. And so we're looking in the sky at this virgin maiden, and that's like what the mythology is usually surrounding. So when I went to look up Virgo, the goddess, and I wanted to find out what goddess or goddesses were associated with Virgo so we could talk about that today and I could find out what journey we were going to take. I expected to read about that. I expected I was going to find out about the well, the one I married, that makes sense. Well, I was expected to find out about a very chaste, very virtuous virgin goddess that we were going to find out. Turns out that that's not what she wanted me to see at all. She wanted me to see a completely different side of her. She pulled me into the history of Virgo, and she wanted me to know kind of how that story got a little blurred, right? How did that get messed up? And you're not going to be surprised when you hear about how the origin, when we talked about when Virgo was first talked about and brought up in the ancient times, what they associated Virgo with was more along the lines of what we just said now, the things that we just shared that our Virgo friends have in common. So, okay, so let's go on from here. Let me just say that I found that most of the goddesses were linked to fertility. Okay, that makes sense too, because we also talked about them being an earth sign. The other thing besides Virgo that I usually see is you'll see like a flower crown, and she's like covered in like flowers or leaves, and then she's got all this flora and fauna all around her, right? The animals, the Snow White kind of thing, where like our Sleeping Beauty, you know, that princess where the birds follow you and they sing after you and they lift up, you know, the hems of your gown and carry it for you through the forest, right? So usually you have this like depiction of this like fertility goddess of love, like a Venus kind of figure, like you guys were saying. So that wasn't a surprise to me. Lots of them were connected to fertility. They were the goddess of the harvest. Now that, even though fertility, you think of harvest, that did surprise me a little because I think of harvest more along the lines of not like what we see depicted of Virgo, but more of like Demeter and about like Mabon and things like that. She is also connected to business, what we just said, independence, and even war. Who was it that said that they're feisty? I think that was Brianna that had said that, right? So they were even depicted as goddesses of war originally. So she wasn't actually associated originally with virginity. So we're gonna back up a little bit and we're gonna talk about Virgo. First of all, she is the only female in the zodiac constellation depictions. Now they might have feminine energy, like there might be feminine energy around, let's say, let's pick one, like Leo or something. You might feel feminine energy. Cancer's a one that can feel like feminine energy, but it's not depicted by what we would consider a female goddess, right? The depiction of an actual woman. She's the only one depicted that way. So that's one interesting fact about her. So she's very, very connected to that divine feminine. Virgo is the archetype of the harvest bringing goddess. She's a harvest bringing goddess. She's pure and good. She's considered pure and good, and independent of the masculine. So that's something else that we associate with Virgo, is that, this is surprising to me since I've always leaned so far into the masculine. Right. But there's that independence. That last sentence that I just said is that she herself is independent of the masculine. So even though you have this like divine feminine archetype of fertility and this motherhood, but she's the one that can do it all by herself. Although now, yes, I'm turning that around. And there's nothing wrong with having the balance. You can have a balance of both. But originally, what we meant when we said the word Virgo was this independent woman who didn't need to have a man in her life. It didn't necessarily mean she was a virgin. It just meant that she just didn't need to be married. Virgo is often depicted with a staff or a rod in her right hand and an ear of corn or wheat in her left hand. And this was because grain was a very lucrative product in ancient Mesopotamia and a symbol of fertility to the ancient Babylonians. Grain to this day is still associated with fertility. He said, now that you can get behind. The not needing to be married part. Okay, the word Virgo. So this is where it got a little bit mixed up. A lot of people assume, and if you look it up now, what does Virgo mean? It's going to say the word Virgo means virgin in Latin, but it actually means more like self-contained. So like kind of keeping yourself in a bubble. Now that might have meant to some men when they saw that or when they translated it later on to mean like chaste and closed off in a virgin way, but that's not what it meant. It meant that she was self-sufficient. They're saying here that this was a closer word to self-sufficient than it was to virgin, like that kind of self-contained. The more ancient concept of the word virgin is described as a woman who was independent and free to love whom she chose. What I think of for that one is like the ancient queen, right? The woman king, like she didn't have to have a king by her side. She'd have consorts, but she decided that she was going to rule all by herself, and she kept the throne all alone. So that was her job, and she decided, I don't need a king. I'm going to be the king and the queen. So that gives me that kind of depiction. So let's talk a little bit about a few goddesses, because what we're going to do today is we're going to take a journey, and different goddess will appear for each one of you. Depending on what you are connected to, we're just going to open up space to allow a goddess representing Virgo to show up for you and give you a message. And your message might be tied into any one of these things, because we're talking about independence. We're talking about being in business. We're talking about having to be able to do things all on your own. We're also talking about being very misunderstood, right? Because we're depicting how she had this mythology that was created, and then, like telephone, telling the story and retelling the story, it changed. It kept changing more and more over time. So your message might be about being misunderstood, or about how you started off one way, but now you're morphing into a different story, into a different archetype of who you once were. So the furthest back that we go to find Virgo is, and we were just talking about printers earlier in the meetup that we have with Coach K. I have all my notes. I had them typed up, but now I have to read them off my phone because I didn't get to print anything out. Okay, the furthest back that we have for Virgo is the ancient Sumerian goddess of Nisaba. And I saw that it was actually spelled a different way depending on where I looked this up. Nidoba is the other one. So Nisaba or Nidoba, and they both are described the same way. This is the oldest far back that people can find a goddess that was associated with Virgo. She was the deity of writing, of learning, and once again, the harvest. She was a powerful entity whose connection to writing and learning, not to mention the harvesting of grain, associated her with some of the first historical proof of trade and business. Virgo, in her inception, was a businesswoman. All right. Then the Virgo constellation became connected to Persephone. And this is because we started off with the harvest. We're talking about harvest and business. Go down the line a little bit further in history, we get Demeter. Demeter was the harvest goddess, but she had a daughter named Persephone, who was looked at as a virgin maiden, who went into the underworld, and she ate 6 of the little seeds from the pomegranate. And because she ate those 6 seeds, she then had to spend 6 months in the underworld and 6 months up at the top. And so when she would go into the underworld, her mother Demeter would refuse to let anything grow, and that's how the seasons were explained. Demeter would decide, I'm the goddess of harvest. I'm not going to allow anything to grow. No one's going to get any grain or anything for these months while I'm mourning and missing my daughter. And then when her daughter would come back, sound familiar? That deity that comes back, the sun comes back, the spring comes back, this rebirth comes back. Now everything can bloom again, and we can have this rebirth of all of the life, and everything can bloom. So that's how the Virgo constellation became connected with Persephone, because like the spring goddess, Virgo stars are most visible 6 months out of the year. All right, then we moved on. We also have Sumerian goddess Ishtar. So her story is very, very much the same, where she found her husband, Tammuz, the god of the harvest. So see, in this case, it was her husband, not her mother, that was the god of the harvest. And he was trapped in the underworld. She followed him and was trapped there as well. And Ishtar is the goddess of love, sensuality, fertility, procreation, and, like I said earlier, war. So we have all of these things that Virgo is connected to. All right, then we have the Egyptian goddess Aset, or Isis, as you might know her as, the Great Mother. And her husband Osiris was brought back to life. So again, we're talking about the rebirth, being brought back to life. With her magic, she goes around and she collects all of his different body parts, puts them back together to bring him back to life. But what's missing? One thing is missing, his male member. So she has to create him a golden phallus symbol, made out of gold, that she gives to him. And then together, they now create their son, Horus. So because of the fact that she doesn't actually have intercourse with his original member, that is his gold member, she is often looked at as a virgin goddess to some people as well. So here we start to get into. So we have Persephone and now Aset, where we start to see kind of the virgin coming in. Virgin, that word originated from the Greek Latin word virgo, or maiden. It was often used in Greek mythology to classify several goddesses, such as Artemis, and she's also known as Diana. So a couple of you may have heard of Diana. I know that when I do client sessions, Diana sometimes comes forward for several of my clients. So you should look her up. She's a really, really good one. Again, you think of forest, and you think of working with certain things like the woods and the leaves and the trees, deers. I think of Diana. And also Hestia. Artemis is the Greek virgin goddess of the moon and the hunt. She protects women in labor, small children, and wild animals. And Hestia is the Greek virgin goddess of the hearth, and she never takes part in the struggle between man and the gods. Virginity and virgin were once terms of power, strength, and independence, and they were used to describe the goddesses who weren't easily swayed or tricked. And that's something that you can actually look up. There's an original word that they used in Greek that was actually translated to this kind of woman, and it didn't have anything to do with whether or not she actually had lost her virginity, or she was, holding on to her chastity, anything like that. It was just a woman who couldn't be tricked. It was a woman who was very independent, and it was a woman who didn't need to get married. She didn't need that male chaperone, if you want to say, so that somebody didn't have to tell her what was up and down, what was right and wrong. She had it. You weren't going to fool her. She was going to know these things without your help. So I found that very, very interesting, and I really enjoyed working with her and getting a chance to know her. And some of you guys are in my expansion group, my expansion paid membership, and we just released the packets for that. we were talking about the spring equinox. We talked a lot about fertility. We talked a lot about the rebirth of everything that's been asleep under the winter snow. So this like really went together perfectly for me, being able to find out that she was associated with so much. The fact that she was even supposed to be a female constellation was reportedly, it's believed that that was found out during the spring fall equinox. So spring for us above the equator, and below the equator would be fall at the same time, when she was out in the sky. So vice versa, she would be out in the sky when it's September for us, so that would be in the fall, and it would be the spring below the equator. So that was happening during an equinox, and we're here at the full moon now. That's right before the equinox, and all of that is falling into place. So I went ahead and took a journey, and I asked the guides, okay, so now that we have all this information and I got to work with Virgo, it's so awesome. I asked, what is it that you guys are going to be doing today? And they said, what we're going to be doing is you guys are going to be taking a journey, as I said, to meet your archetype for Virgo. It's not going to be the same for everybody. They wanted me to read a couple of different ones so you guys would see. You might get one of the ones I read, or you might get something completely different and find out that there's even more goddesses out there that are connected to Virgo and these particular traits that I just read about for you, who is this sense of independence, or this business person, or somebody who maybe represents fertility and growth and abundance and the harvest and being able to reap in that harvest. So you're going to meet with your goddess today for the month, for the sign of Virgo, and she's going to have a sign, a message, a healing, something for you that's just meant for you. So I'm going to guide you into that point, and I'll describe how do we do journey for those who maybe have not taken a journey with me before in just a second. But first, let me ask if anybody has any questions or anything that you found interesting about what we learned about Virgo today, about the goddesses. And you can type it in chat if you're not able to talk, but if you want to come off mute, you can come off mute.
I just wanted to ask a question. Okay. Because you said something about the underworld and stuff like that. Is the goddess Hecate, I hope I'm saying her name correctly, is the goddess, yes, is she connected at all with Virgo? Because you said something about the underworld, and I know that she's somewhat connected with the underworld too, correct?
Right. So Hecate did not come up in my actual research, but it's funny that you said that, because when I just now even said the sentence, and I thought about this before now, but again, when I was saying the sentence, you guys might get your own goddess that was not one of the ones I mentioned. Hecate showed herself again in my mind's eye. So she does keep popping up, and I do feel like it's possible that somebody might see her. Go ahead and do your own research, find that out for yourself. But I would say, based off of the things I just read, I feel like it makes sense that absolutely she would end up being a goddess that was connected to Virgo. She just didn't come up in the research when I did it, but I feel like you're right. I feel like because of some of the overlaps, and also because we're talking about a maiden, Hecate is known as the mother, maiden, and crone. She can be all three. And so right now we're talking about one in particular aspect of the goddess. But when we look back in history, we found out that she's not just the maiden, she's actually also the mother. She's actually known for one of the goddesses, I think it was, it might have been Artemis, is depicted as having 50 breasts. And that's because that's depicting the fact that she's able to feed and nurture the entire world. So all of these different, versions of the goddess, and going from maiden to motherhood, to me, that also pulls in Hecate. So I feel like it's very, very possible that she is connected.
Okay. I'm just wondering because also lately I kind of have been dipping into calling on her. I'm not sure why, but with some of my sessions, or even just randomly throughout the day, just calling on her for protection, I've been trying to work with her and call on her. So I just wanted to ask and see if she might be even connected with what's going on for today.
Possibly. And if she shows up for you, then she can tell you. She might be waiting and lurking, waiting to tell you why it is that you do feel connected to her. She might have a message about that and how you're meant to work with her.
Okay.
And if not, you know what I'm going to say. If you
Take a
don't,
journey.
right. If you don't get a message from her now, I would definitely go back even after today and take a journey and find out how am I supposed to work with Hecate? What message does she have for me, or what is my connection to her? Because you might have some type of connection to her that you don't know about, even from a past life. So I would definitely say it would be worthwhile to take a journey and find out why.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Thank you for asking. Great
Thank you.
question. You're welcome. Anybody else have any questions or anything you wanted to add?
I have a question.
Yes.
What if someone shows up? I mean, you don't know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a description that you have. I mean, how do you, I guess you would just look it up, right?
That's what I do. I mean, you can ask. You know, I always encourage you guys, if you see a guide that shows up and you don't know who they are, ask for a name, ask for a symbol, or who are you? You know, that sometimes they'll tell you who they are in symbols, or they'll tell you to go look for this thing. You know, I am the one that works with the, you know, with the land, or you know what I mean, something like that. And then you go look up what they just said. But I have to do the same thing sometimes. That's actually, like I've said before, in classes. But for you guys, if I haven't heard this yet, when I went to work in upper world and I got access to the Great Hall of Records, where soul contracts and stuff were, I had no idea who this goddess was. This woman showed up and I knew she was a goddess. She was very, very golden hair, golden dress, golden light all around her. And I was just like, okay, who is this very, very blonde goddess that just showed up to work with me? I didn't know who she was. So I put in a basic description of what I saw, and then I just thumbed through photos and art and you know, like, and even like the little figurines and stuff, until I saw what to me very, very, very much resembled what I saw. And then I clicked on her and I went to go and read more about her. And at first I realized her name was Demeter. I didn't know who that was, but then I learned a little bit more about her, being the goddess of the harvest and being Persephone's mom. But she was also related to what I just read to you a little while ago, which was about law and justice and things like that, and keeping organization and records, things like what I just read about Virgo. And then that made perfect sense why she, for me, was the guardian of the Hall of Records, for that. But I had to look her up. Same thing with Bridget. Bridget is a Celtic goddess. She showed up for me at first as a black woman with with green eyes and dreadlocks, but the dreadlocks were, you know, like a lighter color hair, and her eyes were green, and she was like a lighter skin, but a black woman. And she had this flower crown on and this dress, and I didn't know who she was. And then she changed her form to a like a more redheaded, but like tribal looking, like a Celtic goddess. Is like she could switch her form one way or the other. And I had to go look up the same thing, and it was the figurine that time that I was like, that figurine with this like headdress and these like more like tribal like warped features, not like this like soft like airbrushed kind of, you know, more like you know, a gritty kind of goddess. And I was like, her, that's who I met. And I found out that that was Bridget. So I have to do the same thing sometimes. I have to go look up who did I just work with, and sometimes I'll ask them. And one time I had a male guide, and I asked him who he was, and he just said, somebody who you're finally ready to see. That was all I got, and I still to this day don't know who he is.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Anyone else? It's so weird having you guys like with your camera off. I feel like I want to like connect with you guys so bad. I'm like trying to look in your guys' eyes, but I can't. Oh, and then Coach Bannon says, "Yep, that's how I found out who Kato was." Yes, that's. I mean, that's like I said. Like I had to do. I mean, I still do to this day, but especially in the beginning, like I found my. I did always love Greek mythology. I always loved, especially, you know, ancient Kemet and Egypt, you know, mythology, stuff like that. I knew them, but there was a lot of like gods and goddesses that I thought I knew, but like, if it wasn't like Zeus or Hera, like the ones we learned, the basic ones in school, I didn't know. I didn't know how many that I didn't know until I started to work with them, and they just show up, and then I'd have to look them up. Like, well, who are you? So it happens. If they want to work with you, they're gonna pop up and start working with you, and then you have to go look up and find out who they are. Anybody else have any questions, comments, additions? Not, I'm gonna describe for those of you who don't know how to take journey mostly on the replay, because I know most of you guys who are here today, you guys do know how to take Journey, but I'm going to just describe it basically for those who have not. Okay, so what we do for Journey normally, if you've taken my classes, you guys would know how to go into a shamanic journey. You would find some sort of place in nature. You would you would have already been given, like, granted access to upper world, middle world, lower world, and you would also be assigned a spirit animal, class animal, who would take you to these places if for some reason you didn't know how to get to where you need to get to. So for the purposes of these ceremonies that I do, what I do instead, what the guides do, is they'll tell me how to get you guys to where you need to. And usually you get some sort of chaperone, an animal of some kind, usually, that's going to get you to the place where you're going to go, and you're going to be able to meet with whoever you needed to meet with, whether they take you to lower world, upper world, whether you stay in middle world, which is basically our world, but in the spirit realm, and you're going to get your message there. So what I will do is I will guide us to a specific point. You're going to hear my voice. I'm going to help to get you a certain picture. You'll get to that place where you finally meet with the person you're supposed to meet with the guide, the deity that you're going to meet with, and then it's just going to be the drum. You're only going to hear the drum, and you won't hear my voice anymore, and you'll receive your messages, your healing. You'll go somewhere with them. If they take you on an adventure, you go on the adventure. And then when it's time to start coming back, you'll hear my voice, and I'll start bringing us back. When you're done, you can start immediately. If you do have a journal with you or a notebook, write down everything you got, write down your messages. You can put it in your phone, however you'd like to keep that information for you, so that you don't forget everything that you learn. And then after a few minutes of letting you guys document whatever it was that you got, then I'll just ask for a few shares so that we can share. And what do we have here? Coach Bannon says, I will probably have to redo the actual journey just because my kids. Okay, no worries, no worries. You can come back and do the replay. And even if you're here and you try to do it right now, you can always do the replay as many times as you want. So after the replay is up, you guys will be able to do that. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna lead you. We're gonna take a couple of deep breaths. We're gonna just listen to my voice. We're going to flow ourselves into the area where we're going to get to. We're going to meet with a chaperone. You're going to get to a specific point, and then my voice is going to drop off, and you guys are going to go through the rest of your journey without me until I start to call you back. Now, sometimes what happens is what I call guide override. If your guides decide that you're not going to do anything I just told you, you're not going to go where I just led you, they're telling, they're saying that Miss Siobhan is like not gonna, she's not gonna be your leader today. They're gonna be your leader. They're gonna be the one to decide what it is that you're gonna see and what you're not gonna see today. Then let that happen. Don't worry about it. Don't try to follow what my voice is saying. Don't try to force yourself to see what I'm telling you to see. I just do that for those who have not journeyed before, who need sometimes that step by step to help you get through the entire process. If you don't need it and you just go off on your own, that's perfectly fine. It's meant to happen. Another thing that could happen that was meant to happen is you could fall asleep, and that happens too. Sometimes you get so deep into it that you just try to see something and then you immediately just fall asleep. What I was told by my guides is when that happens is it's kind of like they put you under anesthesia. The work that needed to happen was so deep that they needed you to go to sleep and get out of your own way so that they could go ahead and go deeper and just do that work on you that they needed to do. So if that happens, don't worry about it. Don't think that you did it wrong or that the work didn't happen. Just trust the process and know that the guides probably went in there. They did a healing on you. They took something out. They removed something out of the way. And it's for your best, for your highest good. And you just didn't have to be there to make it, to make it happen. They didn't need your help. They needed you out of the way. Okay. So does anyone have any questions before we get started? I'm going to go ahead and open up Sacred Medicine Space, and we'll do a quick fire ceremony before we take our journey. And then of course I'll let you guys, go use the restroom and get comfortable and stuff like that before we start. But first, let's see, do we have any questions up until now? Nope, nope, we're good. It's so weird how like I feel like I'm tripping over my words more because I can't see you guys, and it's like no different. Like you guys are here, there's no difference. There should be no reason why I like am tripping over my words. For those of you who are watching the replay, I was having some technical issues that the only thing that would fix it is for everybody else to turn off their camera. So they're here, and but it feels like I'm talking to myself. So I guess I just feel like I'm tripping my words up a little bit more. Okay, so let's go ahead and open our sacred medicine space and do a quick fire ceremony so that we can go into journey. All right, bring the here. Let's wake up our spirit teams and call in our ancestors and all of our spirit guides, just asking them to be here with us now, getting their attention. Oh. Just give your spirit teams permission to be here in this space now, to be all around us, to guide us, to protect us, thanking them in advance for any work that they're going to do with us today. I'm going to go ahead and just speak to the spirits in all four directions. And below us to the Mother Earth. And above us to the sun, especially to the moon tonight, to all the stars and ancestors in the nation between, to our spirit teams and the divine creator who is of so many names and names that we don't even know. Just asking them to shine their light down on us now, up and down, all around, protect us and guide us on this sacred ground. Amen. Ashe. Aho. Okay. So if you want to come off of mute or if you need to type in the chat, feel free to. What we're going to do today is just a little bit of fire ceremony where we're going to release something into the fire that is no longer serving us, that we're ready to let go of, that we don't want to take with us into this new era. We have a spring equinox coming in and we just want to leave some things behind, and then we're going to call something in to take its place. What would you like to bloom in its place? So what would you like to let go, let it die, let it decay, leave it under the snow, and what would you like to bloom in its place? And just say what you're releasing and what you're calling in. And if you want to go ahead and volunteer to go first, you can come off of mute and let me know, or you can type it in the chat, or I can call on you. Okay, Coach Brianna.
Sorry, couldn't get off mute.
Oh, there you go. I was gonna say.
Okay, I after what we talked about last night, what I want to release is my own delusions, I guess would be the word, or illusions. I'm not sure which one would be right, but and just call in like clear vision about myself and what I need to heal and all of that, if that makes sense.
Yes, yes. So we want to leave in the snow and let it be dead and leave behind in the winter. We're going to leave in warped ideas and warped thinking, preconceived notions that are not right. Just those illusions that maybe it's supposed to go this way or that way, anything like that. We're just leaving that in the snow, and we're calling in a newfound understanding along the process, just this divine wisdom and divine knowledge that we'd like to replace in its place, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Beautiful. Aho. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Brandy, you're off mute.
Yeah. I want to let go of the energy of lack, the fear of failure, and the fear of success, and bring forward confidence, inner knowing that I'm capable of achieving anything that I want to achieve. Abundance, financial freedom, whatever, that may look like for me moving forward.
Yes, yes. Aho, that was beautiful. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Mm.
Who would like to go next? Brianna Foe?
I really want to release being so dependent on others. I feel like I depend too much on people around me for like the smallest of things, for my emotions, for burdens that may be happening around me. So I really just want to release my dependence on everyone else and replace it with courage and independence within myself, and the power to know that I can move forward and do things that I see fit within my life.
Okay. Okay, it's beautiful. So how about we're releasing the 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 toxic relationship with dependence. The guys are just wanting you to keep some healthy dependence, because we are an interdependent species, and it's okay to know who you can rely on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so, but we don't want to be toxically dependent on people in a way that's not beneficial and not healthy for us.
Yes.
Okay, okay. So we'll throw that in there. Sorry, they had a little tug at me. They were like, "No, she needs to be dependent on you guys." So we all do. We all need to
I
know.
hear you.
Yeah, we don't need to have that trauma response of I don't need anybody. I never needed anybody anyway. You know what I mean? But that in a way that blocks our blessings and blocks our growth, that we definitely throw in the fire. We don't want that. And we do want to call in. I love this. We are calling in that sense of dependence, that courage, that fire, that you got this, you can handle it. So we definitely call it in. Aho, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Gwen?
I would like to release procrastination and self-sabotage,
Mm-hmm.
and then call in forgiveness of myself and others, because I'm too hard on myself for that procrastination.
Yes, yes. And it actually becomes a lot easier to forgive others when we get better at forgiving ourselves. I did learn that. They used to tell me that, and years ago I wouldn't have believed it. But when I did start to do that, it was like, oh, I recognize, those issues in myself and others. So it does make it easier. So aho, aho. Okay, I think I saw Jess.
Yes. I would like to throw in the fire any negative energies of like holding grudges or smite, just all that negative energy towards others. And I want to bring in more sight, more understanding, kind of what Gwen said too. That kindness. I need bring in more
Soften
kindness.
your heart a little bit, asking for them to like help. You want that like more compassion to bloom for yourself and others.
Right.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. I love that. Aho. Aho.
Oh.
Coach K, did you want to share?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. I want to release roadblocks that would hinder the progress that the universe has for me, and insecurity.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to call in light for my path so that I know it when I'm on it, I know it.
Yeah.
Smooth pathways and confidence in self.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good one. Yep. Aho. Aho. Thank you. I like that. Light your pathways. I like to say that sometimes. Just illuminate what is meant for us so we know, like, oh, this path was meant for me. Just light it on up. Like those little airport little airport was little the little airplane. Here's where the exits are. It leads you right to it. Okay, Yolanda, yes, ma'am.
I want to release the need or the feeling of the need to put myself second to other people, to allow myself to speak up for what I feel I need, instead of just saying, okay, it's really not that important. It's not going to affect me that bad. Okay, I'll do it. And really not want to do it, you know? So I don't seem to be able to figure out how to do that. And I want to release it so I'm capable.
Yeah, yeah. We're releasing any people pleasing energy, putting yourself on the back burner energy. I love that. You get a second. Brianna in the comments here says, "Oh, I second that, Yolanda." And then, what would you like to bring in? What do you want to blossom in your life in its place?
Okay, that's a good question. I, I'd like to blossom self-wealth. You know, the fact that you know, the money and the time and stuff that I am putting into other people is returned to me. You know,
Yes.
so that
Right. Let those seeds you're sowing everywhere, you know, bring fruit and multiply abundantly. I love that one. Absolutely, absolutely. Call that in. We all call in some of that. All
okay.
that
I mean,
juice.
not talking too much about personal life, but I increased my income by about $7,000 compared to last year, and
Boom.
I'm like, where is it? Can someone tell me where that went? You
Right.
know?
Right.
So
Well,
I
7,000 across the whole year isn't a whole lot, but it is increased. So
yeah.
maybe we need to like bring in a couple of like, you know, better habits, you know, like knowing knowing what to do with all that increase. Let us all know what to do with our increase as soon as it arrives. Aho, I like that one. And if any of y'all get an increase $7,000 a year and you need help, you know, I can help y'all. I can tell you how to invest that money. We can all make it grow. We can all invest in some stuff. Okay. Aho. All right. Did I miss anybody? Everybody shared? Knowing what to do with it, the right things, right? That's another one of those mantras that I wrote for myself, for my money, my new money beliefs, is that I know exactly where not only my energy goes, but where my money goes, so that I'm not spending time, focus, or money on anything that does not deserve my time and attention. To me, that's a really, really great trait I'd like to like really cultivate. I keep doing that. Great trait to cultivate. I did that earlier. I keep making that same rhyme. Okay. I think we got everybody. Yes. All right. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So we're going to get ready to journey, guys. If you need to take a drink of water or get yourself comfortable, you love that written out. The mantra? Oh yeah, I keep saying one of these days I'm going to share all of the money belief things that I come up with, and then have you guys come up with ones for yourself as well. Maybe we'll talk about that in our money wound healing this month. Okay, everybody needs to get comfortable. Go ahead and get comfortable. Get yourself ready. If you have to use the restroom or you're gone, make sure let me know in chat that you had to get up for a second, so I know to wait for you to come back. And then we're going to go ahead and get ready for journey. Did somebody leave? Maybe we lost somebody. Okay, Brianna, I need you to turn off your camera if you can. There we go. Sorry, it's doing that glitchy thing again. No, Brandy's still here. I was saying, did Brandy pop out? Feel like we lost one person and I don't know who. Okay, I could be wrong though. All right, I have hot water on in the bathroom, so if anyone sees, if you saw fog, that was why. No worries, no worries. Okay, looks like everybody's ready. Nobody's saying that they needed any time or a break. I guess I'm not really gonna drum, so. turn on our drumming video. Is that good? Thumb up, somebody? Or in the chat? No? Yep. Cool. into your toes, back into your feet. Stretch. Roll your neck around. And when you're ready, you open your eyes. You can journal or type some messages in your phone, gathering all of the wisdom that you collected today from this goddess. Hopefully that was okay for you guys. Okay, there you go. Thank you. I'll let you journal. While you do that, I'll give you guys just a little bit of announcements. As you know, these full moon ceremonies are done by donation. The donation is not required. You guys are able to participate. As you know, I also share them even on YouTube for people who want to watch the replay for these. These are my gift to you guys, but I do accept donations for them. The suggested donation is $18 for a full moon ceremony, but whatever you can give, if you want to donate, it doesn't matter the amount. And if you're not able to donate, I don't want you to stop participating for that reason. These, like I said, are my gift to you guys once a month. So if you need information on that, on how to donate, make sure you reach out to me and let me know if you don't know how to do that. And then usually for these events, I have VIP spots. So if you wanted me to do the journey for you, or get a message even while you're doing your journey, I can get an extra message by taking you into my sacred garden and doing a journey and talking to the guides for you on your behalf. And that's I usually have 4 spots open for that for VIP, and those are at the rate of $27. That is not by donation. That is a fixed price for 4 individuals, $27. So I will have those available again next month as well when we do our full moon ceremony for April. The other thing that I wanted to share was Expansion group is now open. So Expansion for Modern Day Mystics. This is a group for healers, intuitives, empaths, just students of the universe, people who are interested in expanding on many levels. We are there to expand on our knowledge, expand on our spiritual connection. We're expanding on self-love. We have a lot of different categories. We have a book of the month, a crystal of the month, spirit animal of the month. And today we had our first meetup group. We have a meetup group once a month. I don't know, can you guys hear me still? Oh, it says it here. Yeah, I guess you guys can hear me, but I guess I'm frozen. We have a meetup group once a month, and we also have an expansion packet that I release with information, with knowledge, and self-love tips and different things. This time was the for spring equinox, for the vernal equinox. That was the theme, so everything kind of fell along that theme. That is $33 a month. We have a great group in there, wonderful people, wonderful souls to share with. You can expand on your network as well. So if you are looking to network for yourself, to find other healers, to find other services, or to also share your services, we would love to have you join that as well. So I will put that link in the description of this video. And if you guys want more information, be sure to reach out to me, and my links are in DM as well. So that ends my what am I saying? Announcements. My announcements for today. And who would like to share? I see Coach Brianna saying that she's not sharing tonight. She can't wait to do the replay. No problem. If anybody was able to receive messages and would like to share, go ahead and come off of mute and feel free to share.
I'll go.
Okay.
It took me a minute to really start to like see anything. I didn't see a face. What I did start to see was like a long, flowy gown of a person walking in front of me, and it was like a purple, like a bright purple, flowy, kind of like a, I don't know, like a chiffon. I don't know, whatever that material is, where it's just like if the wind blows it, it just, Um, and she just kept walking and kept walking. We were walking, walking, walking. And then all of a sudden I saw like flashes of green. It was like bushes that were just like popping out everywhere. And it's like we were in the woods, but we stood there and it was like silence. Nothing was really said. But then when it was time to go, it was like there's growth in everything, or life in everything. And that was it coming out of it. So
That's beautiful. That's beautiful though. I saw when you said long, you said, all I could see was a long, I said flowing gown, and you said flowing gown. And then you were saying it was like almost chiffon, and I was thinking that's what I saw. Okay, I saw like the chiffon. So when you said it, as you were saying it, I was visualizing what you were saying. So that's amazing. Maybe you'll get a feel for, or do you now have a feel for who you think it might have been?
I do not have a clue. I don't. So it's like, okay, because I get a lot of journeys where it's like, okay, I'm not going to reveal myself to you until it's time.
Right.
I'll see certain things, but I'll never see a face.
Got it. Yeah, this is to say. I feel like over time you're gonna find out. You get like a notion. You get like a deep feeling of like, you know what, that's who it was. And I feel like you're gonna eventually get that information, but not for some reason it wasn't meant for you to find out today.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. I love that though. I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else want to share? Yolanda says that she also did not. She has to watch the replay as well. She wasn't able to journey. She's at work. No problem. Let me know if you do the journey later, though. Both of you, let me know if you guys get anything or if you want to share. I'm open to hearing your shares. One more. Come on, one more. Oh, here we go. Coach K got her hand raised. Hey, thank you.
So this one was a good one. This was kind of weird because it was the one that I thought I wouldn't see out of all the ones you talked about. And that's weird that happened that way, but Persephone. And she was very, very tall. For some reason, her legs were very long. Like she was tall, maybe 10 to 13 feet-ish tall, maybe. With long flowing dark hair, and she had this flowing dress of green, white, and gold. And we walked into the woods, and when I first got there, there was like this field of like wheat. I guess it was wheat. It was like kind of I don't know. I guess it's wheat. I mean, I'm not sure, but it was that color. And then walking into the woods, as we walked, she talked. And I was trying to really keep up because her legs were long. But so she basically was telling me that I have to take charge of my own destiny and not leave it in the hands of someone else. And I do that by staying focused. Figure out what it is I want, stay focused with pinpoint precision. And so she said that I must believe without a doubt in everything that's within me, and call the destinies of my own heart. And so she talked about that. She talked about harvesting, calling in things that are my desires, and not just leaving it for the world to throw me here or there. she said her destiny wasn't set in stone. She was kidnapped by Hades. And so her mother kept trying to find her. And between the two of them, her destiny was changed into something completely different from what he had intentionally set it to be. So that was the path that I was to take an example from. And so instead of just like blowing in the wind, whichever way the wind blows, go that way and just be like, oh, okay, I can just deal with this. Decide what I want and make that happen.
Right.
So that's kind of what my thing was all about. And there were some other things too that I'm not going to share, but that was the gist.
That's good. That was awesome, though. I love it. I love it. Great messages, too. Really, really good ones. That's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Aho. We have time for one more. Because I feel somebody out there. I feel you. I feel you. I'm like, I can't see your faces. And I'll make eye contact and I'll be like, boom, it's you. But I can't see your face today, but I feel you.
I would go, but I think Brianna wants to go.
No, go ahead. Go. If you want to go, go ahead.
Both of you go. How about that? So,
Oh.
Brianna, you go first and then Gwen.
Yes.
Gwen, yes.
Okay. So Hecate for sure came and showed herself to me.
Nice.
I kept asking multiple times if it was her that really was trying to send me some messages. And I even had to call in my horse because I kept getting distracted. Like outside music just kept playing in my head. And I just kept thinking about all you guys in class. So I was like, hey, horse, I need you here right now. Because I'm getting too distracted. So at first, when you were saying, look at the bunny and everything like that, look at the field, I imagined the field and the moon and all that. And then the bunny's face kind of really prominently showed right in front of me. I saw the ears and the eyes and everything. And as soon as you said, oh, that bunny is disappearing, that bunny disappeared and I saw black. It was completely black. So after that part of it, I saw I didn't see a face. I didn't see a figure. All I saw was purple swirls everywhere. And I just kept going further and deeper into the darkness as it went. And as soon as I figured out that it was her, all I could really gather was that she was telling me that she's been with me. She's been reaching out to me and I've been basically ignoring her call. And as soon as she said that, all I could do was basically, I felt a feeling of somber. I just wanted to overly apologize to her for ignoring her call. And that's exactly what I did. And just like how Siobhan tells me, and just like how Gwen tells me every time, don't apologize, stop saying sorry. What are you sorry for? That's exactly what she told me. And I felt something in my arms. And as soon as I felt that, I realized that I was holding on to her and my grip got tighter as soon as I figured out that I was even holding on to her. And then I had to call in my horse again because I kept getting distracted as soon as I figured that out. And it almost kind of felt like a motherly touch. It's a feeling that I have not had in a very long time when I held on to her. And I just felt very at peace being in her arms. It was like a touch that I very much so needed.
Yeah.
And then she just kept telling me over and over again, you know what you need to do. Stand true in your power, stand tall in your power and don't be afraid anymore. And then as soon as we were getting ready to leave, I let go of her gracefully and we kind of just looked at each other. And as soon as I was leaving, the thought just came to my head, I'm ready, get ready. That's all that came to mind.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. That's really powerful. I love it. I'm really, really excited because you don't always get all that information. There's a lot of information that you got in one journey. So I'm super excited that you were able to get that much. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I think me calling upon her before this and then her showing up, I have a lot of confirmation now about a lot of things I'm trying to work on.
That's good. That's good. I'm happy to hear that. So happy. Aho.
Aho.
Thank you. All right, Miss Gwen, last but not least.
Okay, so mine was pretty intense. I also had like a golden wheat field, like Coach K. And I actually met Aset. And she was like a younger version, though, almost. She looked Cleopatra-like to me. And we were actually, and I was a younger version, and we were like running through the field, like together, like a couple of teenagers. And I don't know where she was taking me at the time, but we were actually running towards the pyramids. And when we got to the pyramids, we went inside, and I recognized where we were. So a little bit of a backstory. Many years ago, when she first came to me, I had a dream, and I was inside the pyramid, and I actually saw this huge green eye in front of me. And that's where I was again. And she said to me, "You can have this back now." And she brought the eye down, and it, kind of miniaturized it and put it into a crown and put it on my head. And she goes, "And now we're going to go up and we're going to activate it." I was like, "What?" I almost feel like it was like my seers, right? Is what was going on here. And so she put the crown on me, and we went up onto kind of like another mini pyramid inside the pyramid. And this light shone down inside the pyramid onto my head. And it was just like beaming. And when it was over, like I can still feel, it feels like the crown is on my head.
Oh yeah.
I can feel it.
Yeah.
And she put her hands on my heart. It was like she was healing my heart. And she told me, she says, "You are a goddess. Remember that." That was her message to me. And so it was great. But then just to feel that crown and to give me my eye back and everything, it was awesome.
Awesome. Yes to all of that. Yes. Everybody right now, just put your crowns on and say, "I am a goddess." Yes. I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm so glad you got to share that now. Like, oh, yeah, see, we needed all of these shares. And look it, see, it's 7 o'clock on the dot now, guys. So we did perfect with timing. Everybody was room for you guys. I really appreciate you guys sharing. Anybody else who wants to share, you can continue sharing. You can share with me directly, or you can share in who do we sing "Oh Hi Baby" to? Who got a baby? Oh, there's a baby. Am I missing it? Oh, there we go. Oh, hi. I'm like, wait, I'm missing someone's baby.
She needed to see what Mama was doing and who I'm talking to.
Put her little crown on too. She gets one too. Okay, you guys. Well, that concludes our event for tonight. Like I said, this was one full moon event. We still have, the full moon energy going. If you guys decide to do something else for yourself, please do so. Enjoy it. Go charge your crystals, charge your water. Share with me something that you did. If you journal, if you do another little ceremony, if you do a journey, I'd love to hear about it. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording now.